Yep.
I'm
So we're
seeing it.
there. We're there.
Beautiful.
All right.
Beautiful.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's 3 o'clock on a Friday, lovely Friday afternoon here in Florida, actually a little chilly. And I'm here with my guest and friend, David Businelli. Hope I said your last name right.
You did. You did.
David's actually a customer of ours. He's also the CEO of Studio16 Architecture in Staten Island. And I wanted to give everybody a chance to meet David and let find out what he does. Also, I want to thank David personally because, believe it or not, David, you were an inspiration for me to
Wow.
actually start doing these things.
Wow. Okay.
And if people don't know and you don't follow David, you should follow him. Go to LinkedIn and look him up. He does something called 365. What are they called?
365 inspirations.
Right, 365 inspirations. And one day, David just happened to do me out of the blue. And it's a great thing for a lot of people because it catches them by surprise. But, you know, David's really out there, one of the people trying to help others grow their business and help them get noticed. So I wanted to thank you for that.
Oh, you're very welcome. And that phone call we had after the fact was a good one.
It was. And oh, by the way, I have a long way to go for 365 inspirations. So
yeah,
I'm doing like 2 interviews a day.
That's a lot.
But yeah, we'll do a couple as we go, and I just want people to, you know, come together and meet each other and market. And then you never know who's listening or what can happen. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to David, and I want David to introduce himself. Tell people what you do, David, and how things are working. And at some point in time, of course, we'll get to the card and how you use it.
Okay, great. Well, for those of you out there who don't know who I am, David Businelli. I'm the owner and CEO of Studio16 Architecture, located in Staten Island, New York. I think I've been in practice. It's over 24 years. Over 24 years. The firm started in 1996, and it was known back then as Salvadeo Associates Architects. I had become partners with my mentor, Nicholas Salvadeo, and another guy here in the office, Caesar. And we ran like that, and we were going like gangbusters until the recession. And the recession hit, and before the recession hit in 2005, Nick died. So then the mentor went away. And you know what happens in mythology when the mentor goes away or dies? Now the mentee has to all of a sudden step up and fulfill a role. So This is what was going on. And for years after that, 2 years subsequent to Nick's death, I kept having to explain to people, why is the name of the firm Salvadeo Associates? Then I'd have to go into the whole Nick Salvadeo story, which is a fascinating story in and of itself. I could be here a half an hour telling you all about Nick and what kind of a guy he was. But it came time to rebrand it. It came time to rebrand the firm. We had been doing a lot of work in both the residential and the commercial markets, locally, from the city of New York, a little bit of New Jersey. And we had taken the design focus of the firm from more of a nuts and bolts type of operation, where it was, semi-traditional stuff, and on the residential side, and a lot of builder work, developer work on commercial, and a lot of nuts and bolts when it came to building code and zoning, which in this city is very, very complex. I wanted to bring it into a more design-oriented firm while still keeping that foot firmly in the nuts and bolt end, right? So we would really be firmly grounded in the law, in the building code, in the zoning resolution, in the procedures, in processes related to zoning variances and other things. But I wanted to elevate the design, and we achieved that with several pretty high focus projects. The first one being a preschool that I did for my parish, St. Clair's on Staten Island, which won an AIA Staten Island Design Award. And that was an incredibly fertile period. And we were winning multiple awards, and we were beginning to really get our design chops going. So that was the reason to create Studio16, to rebrand it, to bring it more into a design-oriented focus. And it's been going pretty well ever since.
Yeah, and
It's been a struggle. It's been a struggle since the
I've seen some of your designs, and they're pretty good. I'm going to say they're pretty good because I'm a layman, right? So to me, they're beautiful actually. And
thank you.
What we're going to do is we're also going to post your card after we're done, so people can actually reach out to you. And maybe there's someone out there that needs your help, or they know someone, or whatever. But trust me, David's a guy you want to talk to, even if you have some questions. And so how are things? I just saw the other day, we were talking about it before we came on here, about Monsignor Farrell. I saw you did real nice. I called it a common area. I forgot you called it a library common area.
Right.
But it looks beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, that project started a year and a half ago, and they issued a request for proposals to renovate the library. And when I got that email, I said, well, it's probably hasn't changed since the day I left in 1983, because I'm an alum of Farrell. So when they interviewed me, it took place in the library, and I said to the team, I said, well, yeah, that has not changed since the day I left. Steve, there were books in the stacks that had not been read in 30 years. Right.
I'm surprised you didn't. I'm surprised you didn't go back with some books that you still had from '83.
Well, wait. The principal, Larry Musanti, who was a teacher when I was there and a coach, he said that when they were removing the books to get ready for the construction, that he found a book that he had taken out when he was a student there, and he was the last person to check that book out. Wow. So you're talking about, well, Larry was a student there in the 70s.
Right.
So of all the odds, imagine the odds of picking out the book that you were the last one to read.
That's funny. Well, reading is fundamental.
That's right. And students, they simply were not using the library.
Right.
They had computers in there, and they were, well, I think they were like 6 years old by that time. But everybody's carrying around, these.
Sure.
And tablets and laptops. So there was really no need for them to be in the library to do research. So a couple of things with the impetus. Number one, nobody was using it. Number two, they didn't need the amount of books that they had, and they were all old. There's only a few mandated books that the New York City Department of Education says you must have. And then they wanted to hold on to this, that, and the other thing, a few other volumes of whatever, some novels, some reference books, etc. And they needed to draw students into the space so that it would be utilized. It was 2,600 square feet of space really not being utilized, which is not good. You're paying to heat and cool it and maintain it, and nobody's using it. And they had to start bringing the school into the 21st century and to meet and exceed the competition, because it's a competitive market, the private Catholic school, high school market, anywhere, I would think. So they had to rise up and meet it. And at the same time, the school appointed a brand new CEO. They changed their model of operations from the principal leading the entire school to principal for education and a CEO and president to operate the school itself, right? So Lou Tobacco, who was with Northwell Health at the time and who was a former New York State Assembly member, whom I happen to know, was appointed CEO right after I was hired.
Okay.
And that solidified the team. So I was able to present my vision, and they presented their vision, which was to just completely gut the place and put up some glass walls to make 2 seminar rooms for students, and then keep a handful of books and get some computers in there. And my first reaction to that was, well, the walls could be operable to give you maximum flexibility, and you could reconfigure the space. And they said, well, that could be done. I said, yeah, that could be done. So when I sat down to design it, I had told them this at the meeting. I pointed into a corner, and I said, I read my first book on architecture right over there. You guys had comfortable chairs and right in that corner. And they said, really? I said, yeah. And that memory informed everything that came after that.
Okay.
When I just started sketching out the floor plan, and I spotted that place, and I drew a diagonal line, and everything dropped right into place. It was one of those moments where, you know, you didn't have to agonize for hours upon hours upon hours and days and nights. How am I going to do this? What is this going to be? How are we going to get all the uses that are in there? How are we going to do this? This one just dropped out right onto paper. And that's what we ultimately built. Yes. And so far,
where can people see that? I know I saw it on LinkedIn, I think is where I saw it.
It's not up on the website, my website yet, which needs a lot of updating. That's a whole other story. But I did post pictures on LinkedIn, and you can see it there. I did a video in the space as part of another project I'm doing called Design Talk on LinkedIn, and that's on my YouTube channel. So you can find it there, and it's a nice video and you get a good overview of the story and of the space.
All right, now, so you know, so that's great. I mean, listen, I saw it, and I'm telling you, if you see it, you'd love it. You know, it's really good. And unlike, you know, me, who, you know, my drawing skills are kind of rudimentary, I'm sure, you know, like you said, David, you just sat down and things started falling into place. My 5-year-old can draw better than me, but that's besides. You know, let me ask you. You do a lot on the on LinkedIn with the 365 inspirations.
Right.
If you don't mind me asking, what got you started doing that? I mean, and again, don't get me wrong, it's great, but I know that, you know, like for me, when I saw mine, I was like, who is this guy? Why is he talking about me? I mean, so I'm sure you probably get that reaction from a lot of people, because
I do.
You're not picking friends, you're actually picking random people.
Yeah. So a buddy of mine, Michael Papora, and you guys out there can look him up too. He's my professional liability insurance broker. And he says to me one day, he says, I had this special project I'm going to start on LinkedIn the day after Thanksgiving. And that was 2018, I believe. And so, I'm definitely going to look for it. And he called this project 365 Connections. He was going to, and they did introduce one of his connections every day for an entire year. And it started off with written posts, and within a month, he started doing video. And I looked forward to Mike's posts every single day. It was a highlight of the day to watch how he introduced people, and he dug into their profiles, and he would give little snippets, and it was just great. And he was having an impact on people, and he was picking them randomly too. Who has an interesting profile that I'm connected to?
Right.
And he would find it so then I started to think, well, should I do one like that? I'm getting the itch. This sounds like something fun to do. And as I was thinking about this, another guy, Christopher Gray, who's in Boston, started doing his own 365 Connections. And he started because of Mike, because Mike profiled him. And I saw that, and so I said, I asked him if I could do my own version. And he said, yeah, absolutely. Go for it. So I gave it my own twist. And I wanted to talk a little bit about not only my connections, but a little bit about what made me tick, for whatever that was worth. So I would post about music and books and movies that I liked and some other things. And I would go through my list. And when you popped up, I'm like, IntelliCard, what is this? And that's when I said, well, this is a great product. So I got a profile.
Yeah, listen, I you know, just like you looked forward to Michael's, I always, you know, I'm always on, I'm always trying to comment, and I always go through, I listen to them because, you know, really, you know, they're a minute, 2 minutes long. So it's an easy listen, and then it makes me actually go look at that person.
Well, that's good. I appreciate that. And the project actually ended in March, right before the shutdowns here in New York. And then when you invited me to be in that little networking group that was meeting via Zoom that spring, and when Joanne Muir did her little presentation on digital marketing, and we were talking about LinkedIn, I said, well, now I got to do this again. So I did a reboot for a month.
Right.
And introduced all the people in that group. And then and I just started it up again about a week ago. Now, I'm not going to do this every day, but I'm doing it often enough that I'll just continue with calling it a reboot and put stuff out there. Because as I meet new people, they become interesting.
Right.
And I thought it was important to profile Joanne again, because she also owns a restaurant,
Right.
and bar, right? And another guy, Bobby Digi, who I know, who also owns a restaurant. And I thought it was important to just get the word out for whoever's in the area that to please patronize these two establishments, because they're shut down again.
They got to be heard.
No indoor dining.
Yeah. Yeah.
Again,
I saw something the other day where it was kind of quiet, but Cuomo said if you're dining outside, you can't go to the bathroom inside the restaurant. And it was such an uproar that people they changed it overnight, but it's just going on, and I can't imagine what Joanne's going through with her bar and her restaurant.
It's horrific. It really is. They've even changed. They keep changing the rules on them, and I don't know how they can survive. I don't know how they're going to survive. Yeah, I can't hear you. The video froze, and I'm not catching any audio.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Something froze on me too.
Something froze on you. Yeah,
my connection went unstable, is what it said. I don't know what that means, but it just did. So basically, now, David, do me a favor. We'll just spend a couple minutes. I know it's Friday. We know, obviously, you have a card. You have an IntellicardUSA digital card for your business. And why did you choose it? How do you use it? Have you seen the benefit? Does it help you in any way? I guess that's the question.
Right. Well, yeah, it helps. After you and I spoke, after I did your profile, I said, yeah, I got to get one of these because it makes perfect sense. Right. I was actually beginning to run out of paper cards, so I would have had to order them. And I said, well, this would be a good supplement, if not vice versa. In other words, this could be the primary method of giving people your contact info, and then have the paper card as a supplement in case somebody doesn't want a digital card or whatever the case may be. You have, you can hand them something tangible that they could feel, like buying a record or a CD, right? But I've given out maybe 4 or maybe 3 paper cards since I got the digital card. Everything else is like, just give me your cell number and I'll text you my card. And people love it. I even put it in the link in my email signature.
Right. We created that for you. Did we create the signature for you? Okay.
Yeah. So I just popped the link into my email signature, and it's there for people to obtain. And it's great because it's very easy if you're talking to somebody refers you to somebody, right? Mm-hmm. And you get them on the phone. And well, do you have a survey of the property that you could send me? Yes, I could email it to you. What's your email? Say, you know what? Is this your cell number? Yes, great. I will text you my digital card. Just email the survey and your contact information. And there it is. It goes out, and I'm getting a response 15 minutes later or less. So it streamlines that whole communication process.
Right. Okay.
Right. And now they have your info, plus with the pictures that you put up, right, from my website, they're getting work samples immediately, which they wouldn't have had otherwise. So it's all right there.
And now with COVID, nobody wants to touch the paper card anyway.
Well, that's true too. So people are going to be skittish about it. So it solves that problem too.
All right. Well, David, listen, I certainly appreciate you taking the time to speak with me today and to allow me to introduce you to some of our Facebook people. Excuse me. And, if anybody's looking, I'm going to post David's card, like I said, but please, seriously, take a look at David Businelli on LinkedIn. Listen to some of his stuff. Go back and check out some of the old posts. It's a good listen, and it's definitely exciting to find out about other people, and it's an inspiration that you do this. And again, I wasn't joking when I said earlier you have been my inspiration to actually want to do these Facebook Lives, because otherwise, I'll get on and nobody wants to listen to me anyway.
No, well, we all want to listen to you,
but
I'm humbled by that, and I really appreciate the invitation to do this. It's a lot of fun to do things like this. It certainly breaks up the day. That is no doubt. I get to talk to you face to face, which we haven't done in quite a while. And maybe one day I could pop down to Tampa and we could play around the golf, although I'm really bad at it.
Oh, that's okay. Hey, listen, a couple of beers, we go around the golf course. Actually, I'm actually going with my neighbor next week before I do an interview. So it should be fun. I hope I don't have too many beers before I actually go on the interview.
Yeah, but that can make it a unique interview.
Especially now, the weather's still a little shaky here, cold.
Yeah.
Like I told you. But again, listen, I do appreciate your time. I want to wish you and your family a very, very happy holiday, happy New Year. And, we'll see you on the other side in 2021, but I'm sure we'll talk before.
All right, my friend. Same to you. Happy holidays to you and the family. Thanks again for having me on, and we'll talk soon.
You got it. That's David Businelli, Studio 16 Architecture. You like that? I got my radio thing going too. Take care, David.
I love
Bye-bye.
it. You got the voice going. Take care, buddy. Bye-bye.